Hey, this is Sidead, Coach of Destiny 6, bringing you the draft analysis of our team for the Mustard's Battle League Season 3. This is our second official season, I think third, if depending on how you think off seasons are counted. But Season 2 was the last time we played in this league, and not only did we do well in season 2, we are the current defending champions. Season 3, I think, brings back a lot of the same coaches from last season. Unfortunately, the two coaches that I lost to last season didn't return, so can't get my redemption on those two. But regardless, I've never done a title defense before, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But so I'm just this video. I'm just going to break down my team, what I think about my picks, why I picked them, basically what was going through my head. But before that, I do want to quickly go through the rules of the Mustard's Battle League. It's a pretty unique league, so here's the league rules. I just try to keep it as succinct as possible. So it's a Wi-Fi draft league, and we pick 10 Pokemons each. They're all divided in draft tiers. So like tiers, sorry, they're all divided by tiers. Unlike the YCL where it was completely points based, this is completely tier based. So there's less freedom in terms of what you can like the type of team you can build, but there's more consistency throughout generally. This is it's Wi-Fi, it's automatically, of course it's going to be on the Gala decks, and we play by standard rules, so the Pokemons are going to be at level 50 at all times. It's a 6v6 single league, and we do have an item clause of no duplicate items. But I do want to say, I do want to point out some unique rules. This is very unique to the MBL, and that is there is a hard ban on legendary Pokemons and a hard ban on mythical Pokemons. So in the draft, there is no legendaries, there are no mythical Pokemons. So you'll find that a lot of the draft is a little bit. You'll see there's not super powerful Pokemons all the time. Throughout the league, there's no super powerful Pokemon. In addition, it's a tier base, but there's technically 5 tiers, but I'm gonna say there's 4 tiers. So there's a lot of Pokemons where are extremely cheap or extremely expensive. In terms of the battle rules, there's what's unique about it is that Baton Pass. So it follows all Smogon OU rules. Is that Battle Pass is allowed. However, you can only Baton Pass speed, or you can Baton Pass any other stats besides speed. My experience in this league shows that this rule doesn't really get used that much, but it does do it. It has been used, but not as much as people as you think. And of course, this one has Gigantamax is allowed. So no Dynamax, but Gigantamax, and hence there's one. The 5th tier is a Gigantamax tier. So with that said, going into the draft, I was actually the front wheel. So the first time I'm the first ever pick, which is exciting for me. And I think I was awarded that because I am the champion, defending champion. I'm not 100% sure because I think in season 2 the defending champion was first pick, so I'm just gonna assume that that's the case. I don't think it's just explicitly said that that's why I was first. But when I found out I was first, there's one Pokemon that I knew I wanted to get. In theory, technically, I've never drafted this Pokemon before, but reality, this is the sixth time in a row I've drafted this Pokemon, and that is Cinderace. Specifically, this is Gigantamax Cinderace. So, um, yeah, so there's not. I mean, if you've seen my draft analysis for MBL Season 2 or YCL Season 1, you know exactly why I like Cinderace. But to quickly go through, yet Cinderace is a fast Pokemon with high attack stats. It has access to two signature moves of like very powerful signature moves: Pyro Ball, a 120 base uh, physical non-contact fire type move. There's Court Change, which allows you to swap the field. So as in hazards, tailwind, screen, that that changes from either my side to theirs or theirs to mine. Um, on top of that, he has access to powerful coverage moves, high jump kick, gunk shot, some reliable ones like Zen Headbutt and Iron Head. Uh, this there's so much, and on top of that's just capped off by its great ability, libero. So I'm not sure how that's pronounced. I'm not a big sports fan. I know it's a sports term. I think it's an Italian word for free, I think. So that I think it's pronounced libero. And anyway, with that said, that allows you. That's basically like Protean. It's exactly the same as Protean. His Cinderace's type changes before it actually executes, and changes its type to the type of move that it's executing. So, for example, if it's using Iron Head, it's going to change into a Steel type before using Iron Head. So, therefore, he actually has no coverage moves. All his moves have the stab or same type attack bonus. But what's even better, I think, is that this is G-Max Cinderace. So this is the Cinderace that can Gigantamax. Why is that better than Cinderace? Oh, well, for one, it's Gigantamax. But what makes Gigantamax Cinderace really good is, I believe it's one of the few. I think there might be one or two other Gigantamax Pokemon that actually has access to all 5 stat boosting max moves. So it does have Knuckle, Max Steel Spike, Ooze, Quake, and Airstream. So that boosts attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, respectively. On top of that, Cinderace learns 2 flying type moves, but I find that it's hard to use them. Acrobatics is weak without using an item, and there's not really a lot of items that consumable items, I think, that Cinderace uses. There are some, but not a lot. But also the other one is Bounce, which, you could avoid an attack for one move, but then you become predictable in the next. Obviously, when you Gigantamax, that move becomes Max Airstream, so it doesn't really matter. It becomes more powerful if it's acrobatics, and less predictable if it is Bounce. So great. There's a lot. I don't even know. I don't think there's any more to say. On top of Cinderace just being a powerful Pokemon that could boost its stats easily now, it's still that really reliable, just free. Like, if I was to use the sports on Libero, I could fit it into a team where if I need it to be more supportive, I can. I just use Court Change, Taunt, Super Fang. Like, there's if I need it to hit offensively, like need it for offense, then I'd use it offensively. If I need it to pivot, I use more pivoting moves like U-turn. Set up Sweeper. It has bulk up and work up. So Cinderace is such a great Pokemon, and getting G-Max Cinderace is, I think, I'm excited to use it. I've never used it before. I'm excited to use it. Now, obviously I'm the front wheel, so obvious, and there's 10 other coaches. So when it came back to my turn, obviously 18 picks were made, and when I was looking at through the tiers, the S tier was interesting in that I think a lot of the dragon types were in S tier. There were some I think in obvious in the lower tiers, but I think the ones I really like using are all in the S tier. Unfortunately for me, every single one of those dragons were picked in those 2 rounds. The positive side is that for me is that every other person, you only get one S tier pick, so every other person picked in their S tier, so I didn't actually have to worry about my S tier until the very last pick, which I did. So I was looking at, okay, if I can't get my dragon, I'll put that aside. What can I do to, what other Pokemons can I get that will like partner well with Cinderace? And there was one in the A tier that I saw that really would be really good, and that is Rillaboom. So Rillaboom is another Pokemon I actually have not drafted this Pokemon before, but it's a very powerful Pokemon in my opinion. Its ability Grassy Surge means that it brings up grassy terrain whenever it comes onto the field, which is, I think, it's a terrain that I think it's just great. I think there's no, it's a free using terrain. It does cut away from ground type moves, but outside of that, I mean, like, it doesn't interfere with if you're trying to do like using status as your main form of strategy. I guess it is like with the cut to earthquake, magnitude, I think, and there's one more, bulldoze, I think. It does interfere, I guess. Those leftover recoveries, basically, in return is nice. But most importantly, Rillaboom can learn Grassy Glide, so instantly I got a very powerful priority move. Cinderace also learns 2 priority moves, so I've got a good base there. It's in terms of speed control. They both can learn U-turns, so I got a U-turn core starting. It's grass type, so starting this water grass core. It does knockoff. It has high attack stat. I think higher than Cinderace's. So this is such a great Pokemon. It knows knockoff. It can learn some powerful fighting. It has fighting coverage. It has like a lot of good coverage moves. I believe it has a flying coverage as well. And its signature move, Drum Beating, I think is just a great move. Especially it's got its speed control as well, and it's boosted by the Grassy Surge. It does more damage than Bulldoze. It's like Bulldoze where it lowers its opponent's speed, but it does more damage, and it's more reliable because it doesn't. Flying types are not immune to it. So, there's nothing. I don't know what all I can say about Rillaboom. I think it's just a great Pokemon to pair up with Cinderace, and I look forward to it because I've never used it before. And of course, since I was the wheel pick, my third pick is this. I pretty much made it at the same time as Rillaboom. And I thought, let's just I don't have to worry about S tier, but let's look at the lower tier. Like I said, there's only 4 tiers, so a lot of the Pokemons in C tier, I feel you can get for very cheap. And so that's where I was looking at. And then I saw a Pokemon where I thought was great value, I think. It's a Pokemon I've never tried before, but I've always wanted to. And that is Mantine. The reason I wanted to use Mantine is because I wanted a strong defensive Pokemon. And I think Mantine, with its special defense, is great. Now, the reason I chose Mantine over other bulky waters is because because of Willaboo. With the grassy terrain up, grass type moves are powered up. I don't really want a water type that's weak to grass, especially Gastrodon and Quagsire in this C tier, and they are 4 times weak to grass. And even the slightest grass coverage in grassy terrain will just OHKO, maybe even with a Window Berry. Like, it's just I couldn't afford it, so I got a bulky water 140 base special defense is nothing to scoff at. It's actually really good. Yeah, the defense side, physical defense side, is a little bit lacking, but I think it's a great Pokemon. If I could get a good weather setter, maybe I could go for a Swift Swim Mantine, which with like Hurricane. I think that was also going through my head. But it also gives me a good defogger. I think a good it gives me a defog option, obviously, but it also gives me like a haze option and has access to some good moves like Scald and Ice Beam. And what do you expect from a good defensive water type? So I've never used Mantine before. Not even outside of Draft League, I've never used Mantine, period. And so I'm excited to use it. Now, obviously, when we get to the next pick, I've built up my Fire Grass Water Core, and now I'm thinking, what I should start doing my Fairy Dragon Steel. The S tier again had lots of dragons, but they're not available to me because they're all picked. There were some good fairies there. Well, actually, two good fairies there. And just quite a bit of steel type. So I'm thinking, I have to either get a low tier fairy or a low tier steel. And I saw one fairy and one steel that were pretty low tier. So I thought, whatever I get, if I get a low tier steel, I'll get the S tier fairy. If I get a low tier fairy, I'll get an S tier steel. And so for my 4th pick, I end up getting a steel type. And this is C tier, but honestly, I think it's probably one of the better steel types available in the game, and that is Bronzong. So Bronzong is this is not the first time I'm releasing Bronze. Bronzong is a great Pokemon. It has 2 great abilities of Heat Proof and Levitate. And on top of that, now, like, even if I could probably try to use Heat Proof more, I'm more inclined to use Heat Proof than I often tend to use Levitate more than Heat Proof, but I'm probably more inclined to use Heat Proof more because now I have that grassy terrain to mitigate ground damage. Yes, I'm still weak to Dark, I'm still weak to Ghost, but it doesn't matter. So, I can't do anything about that. Bronzong is also good. Has speed control and Trick Room. It can do some pretty good damage with access to Gyro Ball. It has access to Hypnosis. Yeah, there's not much to say. I think as a defensive Pokemon, it's great. It's actually a pretty reliable weather setter as well. So if I really do want to go for this Swift Swim Mantine, I can set up what's it called? So set up Rain with Rain Dance. I think it does also have access to Sunny Day, so if I really want to power up Cinderace's moves, I have that option. In terms of, I know Bronzong really relies on its items, especially leftovers, so there's that I have to consider, but I think overall, with the overall bulk, the bulk of Bronzong is incredible, and I think that's what you really need from a steel type. So I'm not angry with. I'm happy with what I pick, and for it being C tier, I easily think it should be B tier. So I think I got it for a bargain. For my next Pokemon, I decided. Look, I knew I have my Fairy type. It's the S tier. No one can take it. Most people have their Dragon types. I think only one person doesn't. So And I think at the end they didn't even get a dragon type. So, but I wasn't too worried about getting a dragon type, getting my dragon. If anything, I was gonna get it second last, so because I didn't think anyone was gonna snipe it. And there's still a few good dragons in the B tier, so um, I decided, okay, let's build the rest of my team. I know that even though I don't have a fairy dragon steel core at the moment, so I decided let's get a fast electric, and I wanted an electric type that was not weak to ground. Um, Even though like, I do have grassy terrain, I kind of wanted one not weak to ground, and I saw one that was actually I think I've never used before. It's and that is Rotom. Um, Rotom I think is a Pokemon that is in the C tier. I think it's actually pretty cheap. I feel like it was a little bit underrated in that sense. Um, but I think Rotom is pretty fast, 91 base speed, I believe. It's immune to ground, or, well, except to a mold breaker ground type move. Because Thousand Arrows doesn't exist in this league. Um, it has access to Will-O-Wisp, another Defogger, a Nasty Plot. I think even without Nasty Plot, it could be a Choice Specs, Rotom. Yeah, I think it's just a great Pokemon. Stab Shadow Ball, I think having a Stab Ghost type move is a great boon. Not a lot of teams rely. A lot of teams struggle with Ghosts, I think, because there's only a few types that can defend it. um, but it's one of those, I think, just underrated Pokemons, especially for it being in the C tier. Does have access to like what you expect from an electric type. Um, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. Yeah, I don't even know much. Like I said, I've never used Rotom before. I have used the other appliance forms, so I'd say it's more or less using that, except I don't have access to just say Hydro Pump or Overheat or whatever they're flying their new typing is. But still, I think it's a great Pokemon to use. In terms of it being a fast electric, I guess it could be faster, but I'm not going to complain. Without any legendary Pokemon, there's not a lot of, or mythical Pokemon, there's not a lot of really absurdly fast Pokemons out there. So, and I have one of them, so it's, and you see I have one more in the future. um, so I think Rotom's a great pick. So halfway through, I'm still trying to build out my team. Again, not considering. I know what I'm gonna get for my fairy. I know I have a good idea what I want for my dragon. But if it gets sniped, there's other options available. I wanted to get a bulky ground though. I think I need a Pokemon that could, deal with those physical hits really well. And the ones that I really wanted actually got sniped. I'm gonna admit that it surprised me how this is like everyone. This seemed to be the round that everyone wanted to get their ground types. And yeah, so I didn't get what I really like my first few picks. I really wanted a Pokemon like Mudsdale or what's it called Rhyperior, but they got sniped. And then there was two Pokemons I was debating. One I've used before to great success. It's probably, if anything, might be the pick where I might change. I might swap it. They're the same type, ground and ghost, but I have used Golurk before, so I wanted to try something new, and so I ended up going with Palosan. Palosan, I think the reason I chose Palosan over Golurk, because I've used Golurk before, I'm happy with it. There's a few things I want to try out with Golurk, but I think not enough. No, I think. Look, again, I might switch. There's not enough reason to not use Golurk then. Um, but the main reason I want to use Pulsar because it's more of a special attacker. My team is really lacking on that side. I think Cinderace and Rillaboom are definitely physical attackers. Mantine is a special attacker, but I don't think has the highest special attack to really do much damage. Rotom, I think, is good. I tend to use physical moves with Bronzong, so it's like it's that. Um, Palosan, I think, is just it's got some good defensive stats. I don't know how well it's going to do in terms of actual battle. I've never really found Palosan as a threatening Pokemon. But I do want to try it out. It does have that water compaction ability. So if I could take weak water hits, water moves, saying that out loud doesn't really sound right. It's probably something interesting there. Maybe with an absorb bulb or whatever. I think there's another item that takes luminous moss. Is it? I think one of those could maybe help. Take those water compact, get some more stats up. It does have a reliable recovery. That's actually one of the reasons why I chose it also over Golurk. But yeah, I do want to see how well I could do it. The reason I even consider Golurk, yes, I know Earthquake is probably the better ground type move, but Golurk can learn high horsepower, which is only 5 base power weaker. And it is definitely stronger than Earth power that Palosan would probably provide. But I just kind of want to explore Palosan, so that's kind of why I picked it. But with that, I got my my bulky ground type. I kind of wanted to get a dark type. I have one knockoff user in Rillaboom. And I thought, let's get another knockoff user, but make it a dark type. Get that stab knockoff. And so the Pokemon I wanted to use is a Pokemon I think I always struggle to find switch-ins to. And that is Pangoro. Pangoro is one of those Pokemon I feel like he can come in and just threaten any Pokemon with a knockoff. Even if it resists, I think it's just going to do tons of damage. And the Pokemon that resist knockoff are generally weak to fighting. So, with the exception of Fairy, of course. But he does have access to Bullet Punch. He has the Iron Fist ability, it allows him to increase the power of those moves. Yes, it's a bit slow, but I mean, one of my favorite Pokemon to just throw in last season was Crawdont, and Crawdont was pretty slow too. So I would imagine I'd be using Pangoro a lot like Crawdont, and just to hit big damage. I don't even know what to say. Like Pangoro is just gonna do, I think, work for my team. It's also a fighting type, so I don't have to worry about getting a fighting type. I think it has access to those strong, powerful moves like close combat. Yeah, there's not much I could say about Pangoro. I've never used it before, which is going to be a common theme with this team. But yeah, I'm happy with this pick. Especially at getting it this late in the draft, I think was great. I think if I didn't get it now, it was gonna be picked later. So now obviously with the last rounds, I know my Fairy, I know my Dragon, but I actually had no idea what I wanted for my third last Pokemon. And well, I'm gonna go. I just chose the Dragon at that point. I went with Dragalge. Um, Dragalge, I think, is just a great Pokemon. I've again never used it before, but it's a Pokemon I've actually always hated trying to switch into, uh, because that adaptability boosted Draco or Sludge Wave is very daunting to switch into, because if I switch into a fairy to deal with the dragon type move, there's the Sludge Wave up there. Now obviously steel types are going to wall this dragon, but it has access to flip turn, and I don't know why. I do think it knows a coverage move that can deal with steel types. I didn't properly check. I'm gonna maybe actually just check. Quickly check right now. But on top of that, I mean, 97 special attack with like the what's it called? Adaptability is just great. It's a toxic spiker. It's a grounded poison type, so you can take it's like get rid of toxic spikes. Like I said, flip turn for pivoting. Oh, yeah, it actually can learn focus blast. So yeah, it can deal with. It has a method of dealing with steel types. So it is a Pokemon I've wanted to try to use. So I took the opportunity to try it out. And so, and there's nothing more I could say. I've never used the Pokemon, so I don't really have anything to comment. Now with obviously, like I said, I've got to pick my S tier last. So I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do. What does my team need? And I think at this point I actually have a really balanced team. Granted, if you knew what my last Pokemon is, it's a really balanced team. And the only real, I think, problem I saw is that I wasn't hitting dark types that hard. Or I think the one I kind of addressed more was that I didn't have a lot of options to hit flying types. I have Rotom, but I do have a lot of Pokemon that can hit flying types neutrally, but in terms of getting super effective damage on the flying type, I only have this Rotom, and it will be dependent on whatever. There's no pure flying types. It depend on the other types of the flying. But I thought, let's get a Pokemon that can pretty reliably hit a flying type. Ideally, I wanted ice type Pokemon, but the ice type Pokemon I wanted were unfortunately in the C tier. So I decided to go with an offensive water type. That's because a lot of water types can learn Ice Beam or Blizzard or both. So I decided to go with an offensive water type. And so my 9th pick is Inteleon. So I am completing the Gala starters by getting the water starter Inteleon. Inteleon is a fast Pokemon. That was actually kind of why I also picked it. My team this is the slowest team I've ever drafted. Because outside of Inteleon, the Inteleon, then it's Cinderace is 1 speed slower than that, and then there's just a huge drop in speed between Cinderace and Rotom, who's the 3rd fastest Pokemon in this team. So, having a faster Pokemon, especially one that is as same speed as Cinderace, so I can probably decide to make it under speed Cinderace while keeping the threat of having a faster Pokemon with Inteleon. So that's great. Of course, it learns Ice Beam, which is to hit those flying types. But I think it also has those moves like Mud Shot, Dazzle. I think it can learn Dazzling. Can it? Doesn't matter. The specs. A spec set is just super powerful. It is, for one, it's faster and hits harder on the special side. Like its special attack stat is higher than Cinderace's physical attack stat. So this is one of those few Pokemon I think that can be as threatening as Cinderace. Obviously, it doesn't have the Libera ability, so it can't change its type. It doesn't have Protean either. But this is a Pokemon, again, never used before, but I could see the potential of this Pokemon. It's very easy to see it. Focused energy with scope lens. It abuse that sniper ability, or even just go with a choice spec set. I think is even good enough. So, with that said, like I'm pretty happy with my pick of Inteleon. So final round. It's going to be a fairy type. And I think if you followed the YCL, I think you know exactly who it's going to be. I've been really happy with. Well, my final pick is Clefable. I've been really happy with Clefable in the YCL. Not gonna lie, it was the. I always thought that it was a Pokemon that was over. Like it shouldn't be in the highest tier. I don't know whether I thought it should have been at a tier lower, but I think it's not worth it in the highest tier. Well, I was proven wrong in the YCL, and now I am an avid fan of just using the Fable. The Fable is always a Pokemon I actually hated preparing against. So I know it sounds a little bit paradoxical. I hate preparing against it, but I think it's not worth that top tier status. But no, I'm all for Clefable now. It rounds out the defenses of my team pretty well, I think. Between Bronzong and Clefable, along with Mantine, I think, and Palossand, they can easily fill out the bulk of my team. It provides a special attacker that to support, the Inteleon, Dragalge, and Rotom. Yeah, that's. I don't know what more to say. It's got Clefable just always just provided a ease in team building in the YCL, and I hope it continues to do so in this league. But with the challenge of Gigantamax being around. So that's my team. I know this video has actually been a bit long, I'd say. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to use this team. I can't wait to defend my title in the MBL. I think the first week, at this point in time when I recorded, the schedule hasn't been released, so I don't know who my first week opponent is. Now I do plan to do something between this video and the first week battle, maybe a power ranking. I think that's what I'm leaning towards too. So until the next video I hope you guys have if you enjoyed the video, actually, if you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate the like. I would really love to hear your opinion on of my team. So leave a comment. Do you think my team is how good do you think my team is? Do you think it's crap? If so, tell me why. Because I would like to know what the weaknesses of my team. Like, I know some of the weaknesses, but I would love to look and see something that I didn't see. Or do you think it's just going to be the unbeatable team? I think this is one of my strongest teams I've ever drafted, so I would love to hear that opinion. But with that said, until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and see ya.